Ladies and gents, prepare for an absolute stunner on Now Picture This. This month, we're spotlighting Challenge of the Masters, a pulse-pounding kung fu extravaganza that'll have you on the edge of your seat. But here's the kicker. Some bright spark used a fancy new thinking machine to cook up a version of this tale as if it were told by a smooth-talking orator from the 1700s. It's guaranteed to be the cat's pajamas. Prepare to be amazed, as this one's going to be a real sockdologer.
In the small town of Guangdong, southern China, the annual festivity known as Pao doth enkindles with a fervour so vehement that it rivals the grand spectacles of the ancient Grecian Olympiads. As if to herald the commencement of this august occasion, the mayor doth set the heavens ablaze with fireworks. Amidst the celestial conflagration, peculiar implements, Pao, descend upon the eager scholars who scramble with alacrity to secure his precious prizes, each martial school striving for the much-coveted champion title. Imagine as thou wilt, within this tumultuous melee, the figure of Wong Fei-Hung, a youth of spirited disposition, whose heart is as fierce and as untainted as the morning dew. This young paragon yearns to partake in the festivities, yet the students, taken aback by his presence, beseech him with dulcet tones to return whence he came, citing his lack of martial prowess. Cao Lian's intervention with accusations of bullying merely stokes the fires of Fei-Hung's indignation. He vehemently denies being a victim and storms away, his heart a cauldron of bitterness. Consumed by frustration, one encounters his friends, Master Lin Taocheng and Chang Hung, who dismisses interest in the competition. Crestfallen, Fei-Hung returns home, where he finds his father, Wang Ke-ying, engrossed in tea with Uncle Chun. Master Wang commands his son to show respect. The scowl on Fei-Hung's face does not go unnoticed, and his father accuses him of fighting. Fei-Hung snaps back, "How can I engage in an action for which I have received no training?" Master Wang slams the table, warning Fei-Hung to mind his tongue. Chun, the voice of reason, reminds Master Wang of his son's youthful impetuosity, yet Wang dismisses Fei-Hung with a bitter rebuke. Chun queries the wisdom of withholding the sacred knowledge of kung fu from his progeny. Master Wang elucidates that Fei-Hung is akin to a powder-keg, and acquiring martial skills would surely lead him down a perilous path. Defying his father's decree, Fei-Hung implores Ireland for tutelage, but Ireland counsels subterfuge, suggesting that Fei-Hung provoke his father into action through altercations. Fei-Hung, cognizant of his father's wrath, dismisses this imprudent counsel. Meanwhile, Master Wang's rival institution, beset by a succession of defeats, seeks an unorthodox solution by enlisting the aid of Ho-Fu, an eccentric master with an avian predilection, hoping to secure an advantage in the impending Pao festival. Officer Yuanqing, a mysterious stranger, interrupts Fei-Hung, mistaking him for a disciple of Master Lu Ertai. Apologizing for his error, he departs, yet not before Ho-Fu, observing their exchange, decides to alter his surveillance, his mind awhirl with possibilities. Officer Yuan's subsequent visit to Master Lu unveils a dire predicament. A murderous fugitive, adept in the lethal arts of death kicks and the killing spear, have sought refuge in Guangdong. As Lu contemplates the grave implications, Ho-Fu confronts Fei-Hung, demanding intelligence regarding his encounter with the officer. Though Ho-Fu's aggression is palpable, Fei-Hung refuses to yield steadfastly. Onlookers, recognizing Fei-Hung as the sign of Master Wang, entreat Ho-Fu to desist. The fugitive master, weighing the risk of exposure, withdraws into the shadows. At the Wang domicile, Officer Yuan discovers Fei-Hung, in a tempest of frustration, venting his ire upon bamboo sticks, his movements a disquieting glance of anger and despair. The officer's discerning eye envisions a great kung fu master within Fei-Hung's tantrum. This exhibition troubles Master Wang, who remains burdened by his decision to withhold kung fu secrets from his volatile son. Across town, a tempest brews at Master Peng Yonggang's academy. Accusations of excessive force in a confrontation pit Master Tang against Peng's disciples. As the discord escalates into a melee, Ho-Fu, engrossed in his avian companions, intervenes only when the fray imperils his feathered friends. Peng's authority quells the tumult, dismissing the aggrieved parties. In the aftermath, Ho-Fu inquires about Master Wang and his untrained son. Learning of the rival school's recent triumph and Fei-Hung's lack of training, a sinister smile spreads across Ho-Fu's visage, hinting at nefarious designs as he assures victory to his new acolytes. A fervent Fei-Hung, stirred by an insatiable desire to partake in the perilous power competition, sought the counsel of his sagacious friend, Sung. Initially Tang, cognizant of the manifold perils awaiting the unseasoned in the art of kung fu, demurred, yet The impassioned entreaties of Fei-Hung, coupled with his solemn vow to be naught but an observer under Tsang's vigilant aegis, ultimately swayed his resolve. Thus they devised a bold stratagem. As the procession begins on the morrow, Tsang wanders through the throng, his heart weighing as heavy as the cobblestones beneath him. His vigilant eyes scan the crowd for Fei-Hung. Amidst the tumult, Fei-Hung, clad in the garb of his father's school, slips unnoticed into the ranks of students in the town square, as silent as a ghost in the night. Their plan, simple in its design, remains as fragile as a spider's web in the wind. Amidst the bedlam, Fei-Hung, with a heart of fire and a resolve as steadfast as Achilles' heel, seized a pow and brandished his prize in a singular moment of triumph. His victory, however, drew the ire of rival students who swarmed him in their envious rancor. Tsang, perceiving the imminent danger, extricated Fei-Hung from their avaricious clutches. Yet with the ferocity of a lion, the formidable young Chon challenged Fei-Hung for the coveted rod. Yong's wrist twisted in the ensuing struggle, sending Fei-Hung sprawling to the ground, yet his grip remained unyielding. A testament to his indomitable spirit, Master Lin Tao, discerning the plight of his beleaguered comrade, hastened to his succor. Nearby, Ren Leung, having secured his own pow, basked in his triumph. Recognized by the judges, he charged towards Master Lin and Fei-Hung. Sensing the impending peril, Lin interposed himself, shielding his untrained companion from a devastating front kick. Yet, the momentary distraction proved fatal. Young, seizing his chance, wrested the power from their grasp and delivered a crushing drop kick to Master Lin's chest, sending both Lin and Fei-Hung reeling. Thus, with two powers in their possession, Yonggang's victory was inexorably secured, a grievous defeat for Master Wong's disciples, who retreated, battered and dejected, to mend their wounds. Fei-Hung, racked with guilt, pondered the heavy toll his selfish ambition had exacted. Cao Yan, with words as soothing as balm, intercepted him. With Master Wong adamantly opposed to instructing his son in kung fu, Cao Yan proposed that Fei-Hung seek the tutelage of Master Luo Tsai. Dejected, Fei-Hung recounted his futile vigils outside Luo Tsai's gate. With the wisdom of Athena, Cao Yan challenged him to summon the same valor that had propelled him into the festival and beseech Master Lu for guidance. Her counsel illuminated his path, leading him to a potential redemption, but Master Lu's abode, a humbled, Fei-Hung, bruised and abased, knelt in supplication. Officer Yuan, vouching for his character, persuaded Master Lu to accept Fei-Hung as his sole disciple. Officer Yuan marveled at the serendipity. Master Lu, once the mentor of Master Wong, now becomes the preceptor of Wong's progeny. As they awaited Master Wong's arrival, Fei-Hung recounted his unsettling encounter with Ho Fu. Armed with a sketch, Fei-Hung confirmed to Officer Yuan Hu Fu as his assailant and divulged his whereabouts, though the officer remained enigmatically reticent regarding his pursuit. Across town, Yonggan's school revelled in their victory. Ren Leung proclaimed Master Pang as the unchallenged champion of Guangdong, with sentiment echoed by the exuberant throng. Amidst this ebullient celebration, the surreptitious whisper from a messenger intrudes upon Hofu's repast. With a demeanour of composed agency, Hofu extricates himself from the revelry, his steps as silent as a rake's passage through the gloaming. Beyond the threshold, Officer Yuang bides his time, a blade hidden yet at the ready. Emerging from the penumbra, Hofu addresses Yuang Chan with a voice laced with derision. With the gravitas of an august adjudicator, the officer invokes Hofu's authentic appellation, Zhen Erhu, commending his elusive prowess. Zhen, undaunted, acknowledges Yuan's tenacity in pursuing him, as the officer solemnly reminds the fugitive of his brother's incarceration within the confines of Zhao Xing's prison. With a defiant challenge that echoes through the nocturnal stillness, Hofu dares the officer to apprehend him, and with the swiftness of Mercury, he vanishes into the tenebrous night. Relentless in his pursuit, Yuan follows the darkness enshrouding them as they venture into the adjacent forest. There, within the umbrageous depths, Hofu halts, poised and resolute, ready for the inevitable confrontation. Yuan unsheaths his sword whilst Hofu unveils the lustrous head of his lengthy spear, the arena thus prepared for combat destined to resound through the annals of time. Their contest, a veritable ballet of dexterity and ingenuity, exhibits their consummate mastery of come-through as they evade, parry and riposte with unparalleled finesse. A fleeting interlude permits a mutual recognition of their respective advancements since their preceding confrontation, leaving the spectators yearning to glimpse their shared past. Bereft of weapons, they persevere in their duel with hands and feet, matched in prowess until Hofu's malevolent nature manifests. A judiciously aimed kick, fortified by the clandestine nettle tips of his shoes, breaches Yuan's defences, deriding the officer's hubris. In the shadowy depths of the forlorn forest, Officer Yuan exhales his final breath. As the dawn's first light graces the horizon, Master Wong and his disciples congregate to bid adieu to Fei-Hung and Master Lu, their hearts laden with the sorrow of parting. The absence of Officer Yuan incites conjecture. Let we surmise that pressing obligations have necessitated his departure. However, the approach of Ah Lung heralds the gravest tidings. Officer Yuan's lifeless form has been uncovered in the forest, a sight as ghastly as a nightmare rendered corporeal. As Master Wong scrutinizes his fallen comrade's body, a chilling epiphany envelops him. The pattern of the wounds mirrors the injuries sustained by Master Lin during their catastrophic defeat at the Pao Festival. The local constable, seeking guidance, turns to Master Wong to unearth the malefactor's identity. With a heart heavy with grief, Wong discerns that Yuan's assailant is a practitioner of the death kick technique, a skill as rare and lethal as the bite of the Black Widow. Yet he harbors suspicions that the enigma extends beyond the apparent. He solicits permission to inter his friend once the autopsy is concluded, a final act of reverence and affection for a knife cruelly truncated by fate. In the tranquil countryside, Fei-Hung's tutelage under Master Lu's exacting scrutiny is in full swing. Lu, the stern and meticulous instructor, demands perfection from his disciple. During a session devoted to the tiger and crane style, Lu halts Fei-Hung, admonishing him against the potent and perilous Hung styles of combat. He reminds Fei-Hung of his insufficient understanding and conviction to wield such techniques effectively. The tiger style, in particular, is designed to inflict grievous harm upon one's adversary. The art style is meaningless, devoid of requisite power, composure, courage, and fierceness. This convoluted lesson underscores the paramount importance of honor and pure intentions in practicing kung fu. The gravity of this lesson is accentuated by the harrowing news of Officer Yuan's murder. Consumed by wrath, Fei-Hung demands the identity of Yuan's slayer, launching a frenzied assault upon his master only to be repelled. Despite Fei-Hung's relentless ferocity, Master Lu permits his pupil's ire to dissipate, deflecting and countering each assault with practiced ease. In a decisive maneuver, Lu hurls Fei-Hung into a proximate pond, leaving him to cool his temper as he walks away. As night descends, Fei-Hung attempts to abscond from their modest rural abode, but Shefu Lu, anticipating his student's intentions, intercepts him with a deft trip and pin. Fei-Hung confesses his yearning to consult his father regarding Yuan's killer, believing he may possess vital information. Taken aback, Lu demands that Wang's progeny disclose his suspicions. However, Fei-Hung, steadfast in his resolve to avenge his friend's demise, fears that divulging his knowledge to his master might result in Lu accepting retribution in his stead, thereby depriving Fei-Hung of the satisfaction he seeks. Master Lu, discerning an auspicious occasion, proffered a proposition upon Fei-Hung's attainment of a commendable acumen. In Kung Fu, he would be accorded the liberty to depart. Though seemingly simplistic, the terms bore a daunting challenge. Lu would engage in combat with his pupil, employing but a solitary arm. Should Fei-Hung compel his master to relinquish his treasured tobacco pouch or be unsheathed, he would be adjudged ready to confront the world. As the months progressed, Fei-Hung's ceaseless toil was evident as he launched myriad surprise attacks upon his master. His gradual advancement was unmistakable, with his kung fu prowess burgeoning daily. Yet despite his relentless endeavors, his assaults invariably culminated in defeat. A year hence, turmoil simmered in Fei-Hung's native town. Master Wong's disciples, under the impetuous Tsang, engaged in altercations with their adversaries, Yuan and Ren Yung, in defiance of explicit admonitions to abstain from the Pile Festival. Tsang seemed incapable of enduring the derision and provocations of their foes. Meanwhile, in the serene countryside, Master Lu inquired into Fei-Hung's cessation of his impromptu attacks. Fei-Hung's response, imbued with newfound sagacity, acknowledged the futility of relying on fortuitousness to vanquish his adversaries. He recognized the folly of his attempts until his skills had attained the requisite level. With renewed determination, he immersed himself in his staff training. Fei-Hung's reply elicited a smile from his master, a tacit acknowledgement of his pupil's readiness for guidance. On a rain-drenched day, as Fei-Hung attended to his tasks, Master Lu inquired about his homesickness after 2 protracted years away from his king. Fei-Hung confessed the ache in his heart, but reminded his master that his mission to relieve Lu of his pike remained unfulfilled. In this poignant moment, Lu imparted his ultimate lesson on the philosophy of Kung Fu, the paramount importance of combat imbued with compassion and empathy for one's opponent. True victory, Liu asserted, transcends physical triumph and encompasses spiritual and mental conquest, where one's adversary conceives with dignity. Leading by exemplification, Master Liu confessed his apprehension that Fei-Hung's triumph might signify his obsolescence. However, he swiftly dispelled this erroneous notion, elucidating that Fei-Hung's training was designed to elevate the school. The pupil surpassing the master would be a source of immense joy and pride for Liu. Humbled by his master's wisdom, Fei-Hung knelt before his shifu, vowing to enshrine this essential truth within his heart. Pleased with their progress, Master Liu bade his sole pupil to rise. With a mischievous glint in his eye, Liu declared himself far from an old, useless man and launched an unforeseen attack. He propelled Fei-Hung into the tempestuous storm, divested himself of his garment, and pursued his pupil with unabated zeal. Amidst the relentless deluge, they engaged in a formidable contest, wherein Fei-Hung's consummate mastery was incontrovertibly exhibited as he deftly wrested the Yidai from Master Liu's grasp. Liu, his countenance alight with exuberance, proclaimed that their fallen comrade, Officer Yuan Jane, might now repose in eternal tranquility. Having triumphantly concluded his rigorous apprenticeship under Master Liu's sagacious guidance, Fei-Hung's initial act was to render homage to Officer Yuan's sepulchre, accompanied by his father's stalwart servant, Lung. Fei-Hung entrusted Lung with a covert mission to Master Peng's martial academy. Lung, invigorated by the prospect of avenging the ignominious derision suffered by his father's disciples at the hands of Master Peng's adherents, eagerly anticipated Fei-Hung's directives. However, Fei-Hung swiftly dispelled Lung's bellicose assumptions, enjoining him to convey an enigmatic missive to Ho-Fu, and Ho-Fu alone ensuring that no other soul within the academy bore witness to the exchange. The message, fraught with ominous portent, read, "Someone knows what you did in the forest 2 years ago, and he waits for you at the same place. Tell no one, and come alone." As the evening shadows lengthened, Ho-Fu, brandishing his trusty spear, ventured into the forest where he once battled and vanquished Officer Yuan. He meticulously surveyed the small clearing encircled by dense foliage, the atmosphere laden with palpable tension. Unable to suppress his trepidation, he vociferously demanded that his enigmatic challenger come out of hiding. Fei-Hung emerged from the tiring bamboo grass, a spectral figure clad in white, girded with a black belt, and wielding a wooden staff. Although their prior encounter near days before Officer Yuan's demise had been fleeting, Ho-Fu failed to recognize Fei-Hung, the scion of the illustrious Master Wong. Fei-Hung, concealing his true identity, professed to be a disciple of the late Master Yuan. Ho-Fu, taken aback by this revelation, queried his opponent's solitary presence. Fei-Hung assured him of his solitary advent and the secrecy of their rendezvous. A sardonic smile played upon Ho-Fu's lips, convinced that history was on the cusp of repetition. His voice is resolute, and Fei-Hung declares his intent to fulfill his master's dying wish, to ensure that a nefarious malefactor faces retribution. The two adversaries clashed their weapons, a blur of motion. Initially confident in the superiority of his modern combat techniques over the ancient Shaolin disciplines wielded by his opponent, Ho-Fu was soon astounded by Fei-Hung's implacable form and fluidity. His confidence swiftly eroded as Fei-Hung discerned the deadly iron-tipped shoes that had once claimed Officer Yuan's life and adapted his tactics to neutralize their threat. In a dazzling display of prowess, Fei-Hung disarmed Ho-Fu, divesting him of his formidable spear. As desperation grips the blackguard's heart, he resorts to his most ignominious stratagem, the ignoble retreat. Undeterred and resolute, Fei-Hung pursues him with relentless fervor, yet prudently refrains from delving too deeply into the treacherous bamboo thicket. Each emergence of Ho-Fu from the dense foliage is met with Fei-Hung's merciless assault, like the tempest assailing a beleaguered vessel. Cornered and bereft of recourse, the fugitive attempts to lure Fei-Hung into forsaking his staff and venturing into the perilous grove, a challenge as audacious as Icarus's flight towards the sun. Fei-Hung accepts this daunting gambit with the valor of a Roman centurion. No sooner does Fei-Hung step into the bamboo labyrinth than Ho-Fu unleashes a tempestuous barrage of the death-kick style, as swift and deadly as the arrows of Apollo. Yet Fei-Hung, his senses honed and reflexes sharp as a rapier, anticipates each strike, evading with the grace of Mercury. The vicious kick ensnares Ho-Fu's foot in the unforgetting bamboo, and with lightning speed, Fei-Hung strikes the trapped limb, compelling Ho-Fu to abandon his iron-tipped shoe. Undeterred, the villain charges anew, desperation fueling his every move. With the nimbleness of a cat, Fei-Hung seizes a bamboo stem, wrenching it free and entwining it around Ho-Fu's leg, the jagged splinters rending his flesh. Ho-Fu's agonized screams resound through the forest, lamenting his impending doom. Amidst the chaos, Fei-Hung's mind clears, recording his master's sage counsel on the essence of Kung Fu, that forgiveness and compassion must never triumph over aggression. He magnanimously releases his grip on Hofu's head, permitting the scoundrel to crumple to the ground. As Hofu struggles to rise, his mangled foot betrays him, sending him back to the earth in abject defeat. Fei-Hung, extending a hand in a gesture of noble magnanimity, is met with a defiant kick from Hofu. Leaning against a bamboo stem, Hofu launches a final, futile attack, but the futility of his action soon becomes manifest. With the last vestiges of his dignity, he pushes Fei-Hung away, determined to walk alone. However, the excruciating pain proves insurmountable, and he accepts Fei-Hung's assistance as they leave the forbidding forest. Word of Hofu's apprehension reaches the residence of Master Pang, accompanied by the startling revelation of his true identity, Jiang Erhu, a robber and murderer. In a desperate bid to dissociate himself from the malefactor, Young professes ignorance of Hofu's past when he extends an invitation to their school. Master Pang, acknowledging his culpability, admits that his admiration for Hofu's kung fu prowess blinded him to the necessity of a thorough background check. As the Pao festival approaches, both schools engage in rigorous training, each employing their own methods and stratagems to secure a victory. Master Pang, consumed by his desperation, resorts to the use of short iron rods, instructing his pupils to target the shins of their rivals, with a particular emphasis on crippling Master Wong's disciples. The employment of such weapons, designed to inflict grievous harm, stands in stark violation of the festival's rules. Yet Master Pang, feeling handicapped without Hofu and driven by the knowledge that Fei-Hung single-handedly apprehended the fugitive, presses on with his nefarious scheme. In the opposing camp, the venerable Master Wong and his sagacious progeny Fei-Hung engage in profound rumination, seeking the zenith of stratagems to secure their dominion over the Pao and ensure their triumph. Master Wong, acutely cognizant of his adversary's unbridled ambition, harbours an apprehension that Master Pang may resort to the most drastic measures. He relies on his son's ingenuity to devise a solution for the impending festivities. Amidst their training, the inventive Tlang proffers an unconventional notion, anointing his chest, back and arms with sesame seed oil. Though initially met with skepticism, this method proves efficacious, committing the bearer of the Pao to elude their opponent's grasp. As the day of the festival dawns, the air is electric with anticipation. Behind their resplendent banners, each school encircles the grand platform at the town square's heart. The mayor, exhorting the townsfolk who abstain from participating to vacate the vicinity, makes ample room for the contestants. His recitation of the rules, followed by the ignition of fireworks, signals the event's commencement. The Pao and spent sticks descend from the heavens, and the students, poised on the precipice of action, surge forward in a frenzied melee of pushing and shoving. Amidst this tumult, Master Vin's stentorian voice rises above the din, commanding his colleagues to form protective circles around the anticipated landing of a Pao. At the center of this formation stands a student, poised with the readiness of a coiled serpent. Through their coordinated efforts, Wong's school first secures a Pao, a victory as sweet as nectar to the gods. Their human chain holds firm, a bulwark against the onslaught of their rivals. Undeterred, Young rallies his compatriots with a ferocity akin to a lion's charge. Ren Berserk, armed with an iron rod, unleashes a savage flurry upon the shins and hands of his competitors, an onslaught as brutal as a barbarian's assault. The judges, witnessing this flagrant breach of the rules, implore the contestants to cease, their pleas as desperate as a drowning man's cries, yet they fall upon deaf ears. In the throes of this dire situation, Tsang perceives their school's grip on the Pao waning. In a desperate gambit, he headbutts an opposing student, rupturing the formation and rushing back to their stand. Retrieving a sack, he anoints himself with oil and calls for Master Lim to pass the Pao as Master Pang's students encroach. Seizing the moment, Lin creates an opening and hurls the Pao to Tsang, who makes a valiant dash toward their stand. Across the square, other schools, having secured their own Pao, hoist their victors aloft and bear them to their respective stands. Pinned down, Tsang is rescued by Master Lin and the Wong school, who escort him and the Pao to safety. Meanwhile, Fei-Hung, locked in fierce combat with Young over another Pao, recalls the sagacious wisdom of Master Lu. True victory is the conquest of the mind. In a moment of clarity, he relinquishes his hold on Young, surrendering the Pao with the nobility of a king's abdication. This gesture of sportsmanship gives Young pause, prompting him to command his comrades to cease their hostilities. With each school now possessing a Pao, they raise their banners in a shared celebration, a unity as resplendent as a rainbow after a storm. As evening descends, the two schools convene at Master Wong's abode, exchanging mutual respect. Master Pang, moved by Fei-Hung's righteousness, lauds Master Wong with sincerity akin to a penitent's confession. In return, Master Wong commends Pang's moral fortitude, yet the weight of his transgressions burdens Pang, compelling him to confess his breach of the rules by arming his students, an admission as painful as public flogging. Though Wong is inclined to let the matter rest, Pang, spurred by Wong's pointed remarks on morality, feels compelled to atone. In a dramatic turn, Pang reveals an iron rod, and as he prepares to strike his own shin in self-punishment. Imagine, if thou wilt, Fei-Hung intervenes, embodying compassion with the heroism of a martyr. This story epitomizes the true spirit of Kung Fu, a path demanding not only bodily strength, but also the nobility of heart, a pursuit as exalted as the quest for enlightenment. Subscribe to our channel, for there are many more tales of honor, struggle, and triumph waiting to be told. Like this video if you felt the rush of the Pow Festival or the tension of the bamboo forest duel, and please share your thoughts in the comments below.